Good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Walter, and today we're going to be discussing a flight training scenario about a student working on a commercial license. Today, the route's going to be, or the intended route is from Richmond, KRIC, to Dare County, KMQI. And in the scenario, you're a commercial student trying to fly, I'm assuming, a cross country trip to get some cross country time building, and obviously you need that certain amount of distance per whatever scenario you're doing, typically over 100 miles. So that's what we're going to go with for this scenario. You're trying to get a cross country trip in of at least 100 miles, which requires you to land at a airport at least 100 miles away. So the the hazard that came up during this flight is you tried to land at Dare County, and there are deer on the runway, so you can't land. There's a couple different things that I would probably consider when it comes to that. The first thing would be talk to the tower, see what their plan is. If you have extra gas on hand, then you can hold for a little bit and wait to see if they're gonna be able to clear those deer out quickly or not. And if you can't do that, I would probably look for an alternative field to land at nearby. There are a couple fields that you could try landing at nearby. KFFA is another one. It's pretty much right next to it, just a little bit north on Kitty Hawk. It's a pretty small runway. It's only 3,000 by 60, but it should be available for you to land at. So you could maybe scoot over to that one and try and get your landing in there, so you can get that check in the block for your cross-country trip. A couple other things to discuss. The aircraft, I'm assuming since you're a commercial student, you're working on your commercial license, you're flying in an aircraft that you've flown in before out of your flight school. So that shouldn't be much of a factor. Nothing in the scenario says that it is. And the environment is also another unknown. According to the scenario, we'll just say that it's a good, clear day out, so we don't have to worry about any weather to go around or anything like that. And then obviously the external pressure is just getting that check in the block, making sure you get your time that you need for your commercial, and also counting it as a cross country. So that's a little bit of pressure. I wouldn't say a lot of pressure. So in this scenario, if they weren't able to clear the deer out of the way in time for you to land because you're running short on gas or whatever the case may be, I would try that other airfield, and if for whatever reason you can't land there, I would just take it back and try it another day. You still get the time in, you're still building hours, you just don't get that check in the block for a cross-country flight because you didn't make a landing in another airfield farther away. There are a couple other options around, some to the south to land at, but there's a bunch of MOAs and restricted areas in the way to get to that one. But other than that, there wasn't a ton of great options for landing at fields near there that are still over 100 miles away. So yeah, unfortunately, you can't log cross country time if you don't land at an airfield it's more than 50 miles away for cross country, but for a lot of the scenarios that we have to fly, it's 100. And yeah, so just take what you can, get the flight time, and head back if it doesn't look safe to be able to land at any other airfield around there. That's pretty much all I have for this scenario. Just make sure you're staying safe and have enough gas. Gas is definitely a factor if you have to hold or something like that, waiting to land. Don't let that run you into something like running out of gas, obviously. Yep, and then just fly back to Richmond and log whatever you were able to fly.